Christus vincit, Christus regnat, Christus imperat.
Hello everyone, and welcome to Scholaris Theologiae et Philosophiae. Today I will be reviewing a few Latin Mass missals. I will be reviewing these three. So, let's get started. So, one clarification to make at the start is I have two types of missals here. I have two 1962 missals and one pre-1955 Missal. This is the Father Lassant's Missal. It is a 1945 version, sort of a reproduction of the original. Which, if you want an original, if you like to collect missals or something like that, you can usually find some of these on eBay, some original ones from a long time ago, but they're usually sort of pricey. So let's get straight into it. I'll go ahead and start with the 62 missals. So here's the two 1962 missals I own. This is the Angelus Press Roman Catholic Daily Missal, and this is the Baronius Press Roman Missal 1962. So this is the covers. The nice IHS kind of indented into the cover here, the Baronius Press. Here, that's on the Angelus Press one, we have just kind of like a gold print on there with the Twin Hearts SPX logo. And on the sides, that's what the sides look like. We got the Baronius Press logo, again the Twin Hearts. Very nice. This one's more rounded. This one's more square, but I will say the Baronius Press has a lot nicer stitching along the edges and everything like that. So I'll go ahead and start off with the Angelus Press Missal. This is the missal I have used the longest. I have had this one for a pretty long time. I don't really use this one too much when it comes to Mass. I have used my Baronius Press instead. But yeah, so it's very nice. This is just the regular version. This isn't the premium leather version commemorated to Archbishop Lefebvre. That one's a little bit more pricey. This is just the regular. I believe it cost me around $60. I may be wrong, but yeah. So it's pretty nice cover. It's kind of like a fake leather. Yeah, it's pretty nice. So first, this does not come with it. This is just your guide when to sit, stand, and kneel. This can be found on the Baronius Press website, and I'll talk more about this later. So we just have some black page there. Then you get to the first page. We've got a nice art piece here, and it has the Roman Catholic Daily Missal, of course, and it says Kyriale in Gregorian notation. I'll show that in a bit. So one of the first things to note, and this was pointed out to me by a friend from Scholaris, that this missal doesn't actually have its own Niceo Obstat or Imprimatur. It takes from the missal it's based off of, the ideal missal, which did have a Niceo Obstat and Imprimatur, but this does not itself hold either of those. It seems, at least if it does, it just doesn't say it here. It's very poorly put in the missal if it does bear either of those. So we have a few content pages. I'm gonna just go quick through these missals, what's inside, what it looks like. Here we have a nice introduction about the Mass in our life. Pretty good. Then you have the liturgical calendar. And we go here, and you have your most necessary prayers. So all your main devotions, the Station of the Cross, you have litanies, all kinds of prayers are here. Devotions for confession, communion, everything's there. I just have a little prayer for spiritual communion in there. All kinds of stuff here at the beginning. And then right after, you get to the propers of the season. So this starts, of course, at Advent, right here. The last time I was at Mass, the Latin Mass that is, we were doing Sunday, 6th Sunday after Epiphany. It was the 24th Sunday after Pentecost, I believe. So that's why I have my ribbon there. But these are all your propers for Sundays and everything, Holy Week. And then after all these propers, you get to the Mass. So right before the Mass, you have this page, title page, and then you have preparation. So it gives you a few psalms and prayers. And what I like about all the prayers in the Angelus Press Missal is they're in English and Latin, pretty much all of them. Actually, all of them, yeah. So here is where the Mass starts. So this is where you basically start out with the Asparagus May. Got everything there. Doesn't look exactly what the rest of Mass pages are going to look like. So this is just what the Asparagus May looks like. Then you get a nice quote from Pope St. Pius X, which kind of fits the Missal because, of course, Angelus Press is connected to the SPX, Society of St. Pius X. So after there, you have the division of the Mass. So it gives a nice outline of what the Mass is like, the parts of the Mass. Very, very nice. Then right after, starts the Mass. So here we are at the preparatory prayers at the foot of the altar. So, just take a look at what it looks like. This will be important when comparing to the other two Missals. Confiteor, Alpha Nobis, Kyrie. And of course you can pause and read a little if you want. The Gloria in Excelsis, Collex, Epistle, Gradual, Gospel, Credo, then Mass Faithful. So my next ribbon is at the Sanctus. Just a nice place to put it because you're flipping around with the prefaces, so it's just easy to flip back, and I'll leave my red ribbon here and continue with the green. Of course, or I'll show so there's the consecration, bread, consecration of the wine. Of course, you get to the end of the Mass, and you have prayers ordered by the Pope, Pope Leo the 13th, and one by Pope St. Pius X there. And then after, you have Thanksgiving after Mass, and then you have the Common of Saints for your daily Masses. So this will ultimately end all the way back here. So then it goes to your votive Masses. So then you have Masses for various occasions, and here we get to some of the sacraments. First we have the marriage service. It shows the marriage service back here. It has, I believe, the burial. Yeah, Mass for the dead. Yes, Mass for the dead here, the burial service, and for Masses around that time. And then it just goes to Masses in some places. And then you have offices for Holy Week. You have the Office of Tenebrae, I believe, in there. Gives you your Vespers and Compline for Sundays, which is very nice. That might be in the front. Various blessings, gives you more devotions in the back. Gives you proper feasts for the United States. Excuse me. Sacraments of the sick, confirmation, baptism, stuff like that. And then in the back, of course, as advertised in the front, you have a Kyriale in the back. Gives you your basic Gregorian chants for your main Masses. The Asparagus May, you have the Vidi Aquam for Easter time, you have the Kyrie, the Gloria in Excelsis, you have the Sanctus, the Agnus Dei, even the Ite Missa Est. So, very, very nice. And then you have your, you have a few things in the back there. I have some of my family's things written in there. But overall, it is a very, very good missal. This is the one I've used the longest. I like it a lot. It's really, really nice, really well made. I forgot to mention the gilded edges are also very, very nice. And we'll talk about that on the R1s too. So, next up, I guess the rival to this one would be the Bronius Press Missal. So, put this to the side. Bronius Press Missal. Alright. So, real quick, one thing I forgot to mention about the Angelus Press one is the ribbons are also very, very nice. It gives you 5 color ribbons: white, red, purple, green, and black. This one gives you the same colors. Ribbons aren't as nice in my opinion. They're more of a lighter fabric, not as tightly woven. But they're still okay. They still work. So, first off, Baronius Press is the ones who made this particular guide on when to sit, stand, and kneel. So this actually comes in cardstock with your missal. I just have it taped in here. I have tape on the back of it for mass. And one thing that you immediately see when you open this missal is the nice artwork on the side. It's Marian artwork, but if you look very closely, it's got the American Eagle there. And it's got the chalice, and of course it has the Marian in with the cross. Very, very nice. Has it in the back as well, which I thought was very nice. So here we start at the Daily Missal, and here you have the same artwork in the Angelus Press Missal right at the beginning. So here we have Daily Missal and Liturgical Manual, Vespers for Sundays and feasts. It doesn't mention it here, but it does have a Kyriale in the back, which I'll show. And as you can see here, this is the Summorum Pontificum edition. So this one does have a Nicchio Obstat and an Imprimatur. They do advertise on their website that this is the only missal currently approved by Rome for the traditional Latin Mass. But yeah, that's interesting. So you have your contents, your index, and everything, and then you get the entire apostolic letter, Summorum Pontificum, in English and Latin from Benedict the 16th, right at the beginning. So, if you don't know, Summorum Pontificum basically stated that any Roman Rite or Latin Rite priest can offer the Latin Mass. Of course, that has been changed with Francis and Traditionis Custodes, but this very much bolstered the fraternity, the FSSP. So it very much helped them. Benedict thought highly of the FSSP, and there's even probably some articles you can look up of him sending a letter right after Summorum Pontificum was promulgated to the FSSP. So that's pretty interesting. So you have a nice little foreword. You have a nice quote from Sacrosanctum Concilium. So here we just have fasts and feasts. You have your movable table of feasts, which I think is a lot better in here than in the Angelus Press Missal. Liturgical calendar, and of course here I have the most necessary prayers. So pretty much same prayers as in the Angelus Press Missal. Yeah, pretty much the exact same. Gives you the act of faith, hope, charity, contrition for English, United States, and Ireland. And then, of course, 10 Commandments, and pretty much all the same stuff as I mentioned that's in the Angelus Press Missal. So this one gives you evening prayers and everything, morning prayers, devotions for communion, confession, etc. Vespers, in the front, compline, benediction. So here is where we get to the liturgy. It explains all the minor and major orders of consecrations. It explains vestments, sacred vessels, everything you're going to see in the Mass. And it gives a nice explanation, of proper of season, proper of saints. And then right after, you get to the proper of the season, of course, starting with Advent. So, of course, the last Mass I went to was 24th Sunday after Pentecost. My mother had used the Angelus Press one, I used my Baronius Press Missal. So, of course, after that, you get to the Mass. As you can see, it has preparation, and you might have picked up on it already. It looks pretty much identical to the Angelus Press version. So one thing I'll point out right at the beginning is the major difference is your English is going to be a lot bigger than your Latin. See, look, the Latin's a lot smaller. English, much larger font. So, look, the Asparagus Mei and the Fide Aquam looks identical to the Angelus Press Missals. Has the same Pope St. Pius X quote. Here's where it gets different. Or, after this page, here as the division of the Mass, excuse me. And then here, you get to start the Mass. So this Missal is going to look the most odd or different from the others. So here, it's more centered, the much bigger font. It definitely has the biggest font out of these three Missals, and maybe most Missals you'll see reviewed out there. So it gives nice explanations throughout. Here, gives in red the actions of the priest and things that happen at certain Masses. So of course, I'll just flip through it. Let you see what it looks like. Confiteor starts down here. It doesn't show both prayers in full like it does in the Angelus Press Missal. It has the ... there, but on the next page it shows the server's Confiteor. So then you keep going. Affront Albis, Kyrie, Gloria, and Excelsis, Collect Epistle, Gradual, and of course, like I said earlier, you may pause and look. There's the Gospel, Credo, and then of course Mass of Faithful. I don't have a ribbon at the Sanctus in this Missal. But I'll show the consecration. There's consecration. Right there. Of the bread. Consecration of the wine. Bolded letters. Get to the end of the Mass. You have the prayers ordered by the Pope, same exact ones as the Angelus Press Missal, just looks a little tad different. So here in the green, starts proper of the saints. So here's the nice artwork at the beginning. Of course, you go through all the propers, it's a lot. And you get some special Masses, Thanksgiving, it's basically just various commemorations, stuff like that. You get burial service, let's see, yeah, burial service. You get some feasts in some places and congregations, just like the Angelus Press. You get your Easter week offices, supplements for dioceses. Then you get your list of all your saints, and you get more supplements for different places. And then you get to the United States. You go back here. Has a lot of supplements. And then you get to the Kyriale. Of course, right off the bat, looks a lot nicer than the Angelus Press ones. It's very nicely showcased here. It's a very nice Kyriale. Also looks a lot nicer right here. Looks very, very nice. Pretty much got the same chance. So overall, I really like this Missal. It's very, very nice. I enjoy using this one most at Mass. So now we will go on to the Father of the Sans Missal. So here is the New Roman Missal by Father of the Sans. This is 1945 version. So there's the side. One thing I will point out right off the bat is this one is very blocky. It's very big. It probably uses like a bigger or a thicker paper. It is still thin, but it's a little thicker. That's why the Angelus Press Missal basically has the same amount of pages, but look how much bigger the Father of the Sans one is. So right off the bat, the Guild looks a tad bit different, and the binding is tight. So during Mass, it's pretty uncomfortable because your pages just flip up. They don't stay down. I try to go to the Mass, try to hold it with one hand, and it's doing this. So that's one thing to point out right off the bat. If you're bent on having comfort and being able to just have your Missal stay flat out, this is probably not for you. So one thing to point out right at the start, it has 6 ribbons instead of 5 like the other Missals. Adds a gold ribbon, so that's nice. More ribbons. So we have a nice little green in the front. A few little hard pages. New Roman Missal. New Roman Missal. Has a different artwork this time. This is of course a much older Missal. This is pretty much a reproduction, sort of, per se, of the original Father of the Sans Missal. So let's get right in. So it gives a bunch of approbations by different priests, bishops, editor's preface on the new edition, because this is kind of an updated edition with some new masses that were added by Pius XII. So that's why it's a new edition, because it's of course adding the masses that were introduced by Pius XII. It gives a long introduction and study plan. So I haven't actually read this myself yet, but what I've seen from other reviews is this is probably the best introduction and study plan out of all these Missals. It is, and just looking at it, it is very dense. There's a lot of pages for it. It explains so much as well. Look at that, very nice illustration of what your average altar looks like. There's an altar table, got your sacred vessels, vestments, priests, for the deacon, subdeacon, and then it's got your guide when to sit, stand, kneel, excuse me, right in there. And it gives your ordinary parts of the Mass. This is where it gives you the division of the Mass, like it does in the other Missals right before the Mass. So this gives it to you right at the beginning. So right when you get into the Missal, it immediately starts with propers. It does not have your necessary prayers like the other Missals do right at the start. It immediately starts with your Sunday propers. So I'll just go ahead and flip through all of those and go to the Mass. So here at the Mass, you don't even have your preparatory prayers right before. Those are also in the back. Alright, we had a little camera problem there, but so as I was stating, there is no preparatory prayers here right before the Mass, and those are towards the back. So yeah, the camera is on the charger right now, so it has to be a little closer to the Missal, so I apologize for that. As you can see, it looks a lot older, a lot different here. The Asperges May. Here's the beginning of the Mass. So ordinary of the Mass, right there. So the biggest difference so far is, of course, the font, the look of it, the way the page looks, but instead of having Latin on one side and English on the other, it has it split into 2 columns on each pages. So the Mass is a little shorter page-wise in this Missal. So I love the font on this missile. It has a nice font. It has nice big red letters right at the front of each sentence, and it has pictures. This is one of my favorite parts of the missile. It has very nice illustrations of the mass all throughout. So of course here's confiteors. Again, I apologize for it being zoomed in. There's the introit, the Kyrie, Gloria in Excelsis, the Epistle, Gospel, the Nicene Creed, Offertory. It's a very, very nice missal. There's the lavabo, the secret, preface, sanctus, and then this is very nice. It very nicely divides the rest of the mass from the canon because it has a very nice illustration here and there. For the canon, Conjugitor, and there's the consecration of the bread. Very nice illustration once again. And then here's the illustrations with consecration of the wine. Very, very nice. Of course, it goes on. Then it's got all your prefaces in the back here. So instead of the other missals where the prefaces are like in the middle of the mass, you have to go to the after the mass. And then you have, let's see, your concluding prayer and your special additional prayers. So then you get to the Proper of the Saints, which is very large. It also has your votive masses in this section. All kinds of various masses for certain intentions. It has the 40 hours devotion right here. 40 hours devotion. Has masses for religious orders, it says. United States. Explains the ecclesiastical year in great detail back here. Very nice. And then this right here gives you short descriptions of the saint for each feast. Gives a little thing about their life. All back here. Accounts of the feasts and lives of the saints. That's what it says. So then, of course, after that, you got a nice glossary of liturgical terms. And then you have the calendar. And then you get to your general devotions. So, one downer when it comes to this one is they're not in Latin. They're all in English, except for some of your hymns for benediction. Like, O Salutaris Hostia, excuse me, is in Latin. Everything else is going to be in English. So this is all your regular devotions, and then it gets to the table of contents, and it gives you a few notes pages. And that's pretty much it. So overall, it's a very nice missal. I know Taylor Marshall recommends this one. I like it a lot. But I prefer to use Baronius Press during Mass. So, these are the Latin Mass Missals, Angelus Press, Baronius Press, and Father Lassant's Missal reviewed. Thank you for watching. Make sure to check out the Scholaris Theologiae et Philosophiae Discord, and we will see you guys later. God bless.